Welcome, kindergarten. Today we are going to need two sheets of our white paper from our art book. So you can either keep them in the art book or you can tear them out. What we are making is a sky, and then we are making grass for the background of our bear picture. So we are making brown grizzly bears, and I know you guys painted. We're going to leave those dry and hang out for another week. And this week we're just going to design and cut out our background. So I have a really simple, a light green and a dark green. I know it's kind of hard to tell from the camera. And then I have a light blue, and I meant to grab a dark blue, but I have those there. So one piece of paper about halfway is going to be our grass. And so we can color up and down for the grass. And basically, we're just making it green, but the direction that we color does matter. So I like to do a nice light green in the background, and we're going to go all the way to the binding or the metal part. And I'm going to get that up and down, all the way down to the bottom. And sometimes you just got to go one direction instead of up and down, so that you don't tear the paper. So I'm only touching the paper and going down. Okay. And you can decide, this is about where we're going to, how much we're going to use. But if you want to go almost up to halfway on your paper, you can. Talked a lot about halfway this year. It will be better to have too much green than not enough. All right, so this is my yellow-green color that I used first. And so now I have a darker green. And this we're going to add a little bit more what's called texture. We've talked about texture this year too. But these are vertical, so up and down lines. But I'm just making short ones, long ones, because we want this to look like long grass. My virtual students this year have been working a lot faster than my in-person students. And so my in-person students are just going to get a green piece of paper, which is kind of boring. So my virtual students, you guys have this awesome opportunity to make this grass look way more realistic or real looking. So you can see I'm just adding different length or different size vertical lines. Some are slanted, meaning they go on a diagonal. Some are straight up and down. Some are really small. Some might be darker, and some are lighter. I almost want to put some colorful dots and different things. I'm going to grab an orange. Maybe put some little dots, which might end up looking like little flowers. Do it with some yellow. You don't have to do this, but another way to kind of have fun with this. Now it looks like springtime when the bears wake up and there's grass growing and some little flowers starting, which they eat. All right. So that is the first page. Again, I just want you to do the light green and the dark green. If you want to add some little colorful dots, go for it. All right, so then we're going to flip the paper over. Right. So before we were doing vertical lines. Now what we're going to do is we can either turn the paper this way and go up and down or keep it like this. But now we're going to do a light blue and a dark blue, and this is going to be our sky. All right, so now we're going horizontal. Okay, if this is hard, then turn your paper so that the metal's on the top, and then you're going to go up and down just like you were doing with the grass, except for now our paper's turned the other way. And you can decide, you can have a really light sky. Sometimes you can leave some white to kind of make it look like clouds. I'm going to go with a really light blue. So I'm not pushing very hard. I'm using the tip of the crayon, but I'm not really putting a lot of my weight from my hand down. And I'm doing horizontal only because that's usually how our clouds will move across the sky. And I'm going to do this all the way down to the bottom of the paper. So this is my lighter blue. And as a kindergartner, it's really hard to keep going the same direction. So it's really hard to go just horizontal and try to go all the way across the paper. So this is really good practice as you guys are getting older and almost are first graders. All right, so that is my light blue. If you really like it and you think, wow, that looks just like a sky, you don't have to do the darker blue. Okay, you could leave it just like this. But now I'm going to take the darker blue and I'm just going to add it to parts. I'm going to leave a lot more of that light blue showing. Like that. So there is my sky. All right, pretty simple. So once you are done with the sky and the grass, you're going to tear out both pieces of paper. So this is my sky, and you can ask an adult to help you. When I tear out, and it's worth maybe having the student try to do it with the help of the adult. But just a tip for the student, if you put your hand on this part and you grab up in the corner, you can pull, and then I move my hand. So I pulled till here. I kind of move my hand so that I'm right about where I ended, and then I pull all the way to the bottom. But if that's hard, ask an adult to help you. So on one side, we have our nice sky. And then I got to get my grass. So on this one, I'm going to hold here and tear. All right. So we have a sky, we have grass. Now we need to make sure that they come together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my scissors out, and I'm just going to kind of cut almost a straight line, but I want to cut not at the top where there's the white. I want to come down a little bit so that it's a nice solid green. Okay. You could make it spiky if you want. You can do some other things. You can make it kind of go up and down. This is just a nice basic way of getting some grass and a sky. So as you can see, when we take the grass and we put it over the top of the bottom of the sky and we line it up like that, it almost looks like a field and a sky. And one definition word that we would normally talk about if you were in person is the line that happens. So this spot where the sky touches the ground is called the horizon line. So there's a definition word for you guys. We'll be talking a lot about a horizon line in first grade. Okay, so this is the sky. This is the ground. You'll notice I kept this on for today. We can maybe talk about cutting that off next class. But for today, sky, grass, you can keep the fringes on. And so I put it where I want it. Then I'm going to flip it over, move this kind of over here. And I'm going to get a glue bottle. And we talked a lot about that too. So I'm going to hold it with one hand. The other hand, I'm going to hold the glue bottle. I touch the paper. Make sure that my glue bottle is open all the way. Wait for the glue to come out. And all I'm going to do is put a nice outline along the edge. And remember, I don't go all the way to the edge of the paper. Just like that. And then I'm going to grab it with one hand, grab it with my other hand. And now I bring the sky back in. And I'm going to want to match. If I put it right here, then that means, whoops. Then that means that I have a floating ground. And I've never been on a floating ground. So I want to match it up with the bottom corners. You can ask an adult to help you out if you're struggling. And so what I did is I matched it up with the bottom of the sky paper. And now I'm just going to push it down, even flip it over and rub it down. And now we have a sky and a nice grassy field where we are going to put our bear next class. So nice job, everyone. Hopefully you learned a couple things. Horizon line and a nice way to kind of make a more realistic field with using two different colors and vertical lines to make the grass. All right, have a good rest of your day. Bye.